Welcome to the fifth and final, maybe, episode of the podcast where we've been interviewing people in the STEM fields. Today I'm joined by my ex-biology teacher, Miss LaFrance, and Jamal's biology teacher.
Yes.
How's it going?
Good. Thank you for having me today.
So, we're here to talk about, I don't know what I'm here to talk about. Well, what was your job when you were working in the STEM field before teaching AP Bio and other stuff?
So I've held multiple positions in the field of biology. I've been really fortunate that way. When I left college, I went right into a position as a microbiologist for a juice company. So that was a really awesome opportunity for me to get my feet wet, in that kind of field. It was in a quality assurance group, but because of my degree in biology, they really wanted me to be the microbiologist. So they trained me, and so I did that for a couple of years, which was great. Then I transitioned to Tom's of Maine, where I again worked as a microbiologist at first, but I have a background also in pharmacy, and so they tapped into that and they said, maybe research and product development would be a good place for you. So then I made the transition there, and then I was a research and product development scientist for 13 years there.
Oh, I have a question, I guess. There was a point where you worked with Miss Shalad, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
and that was at the juice company.
That was at the juice company? Okay.
Yeah, so she actually did research and product development at the juice company, and I did some of the microbiology to support her work.
How did she end up at Spanish?
I know, isn't that funny?
All right, just for the sake of chronology, I think we'll start at the beginning here. So, how'd you get interested in biology? Where'd you go to college, and what were you studying in college?
So I loved all sciences, and I actually ended up focusing on chemistry, believe it or not, when I started off. So chemistry was where I started, and so I went into pharmacy. So I went to pharmacy school for 4 years. Got into my internships, hated pharmacy. And that was at the University of Connecticut. So I was at UConn for 4 years. Then I actually transitioned home to finish up a biology degree. So I finished up a bio degree with a minor in biochem. And that's what led me into then being able to go into that juice company role.
Okay.
Yeah.
How were you able to get that position?
So really it was just a posting, and I interviewed, and they took a chance on a young, somebody fresh out of college, and it was a really awesome opportunity.
I didn't talk much about labs in college before, but we talked about them with Miss Ranger last night, and she had some really interesting labs. So do you have any labs you remember from college that were cool?
In pharmacy school, it was interesting. We did one where this was really quite funny, and I'm hoping this is okay for this. They actually gave us a small sample of marijuana, and we needed to, analyze the marijuana as part of the pharmacy schooling, and it was really funny because it was very regulated. They're like, you get this sample, and that's it, no more. So that was quite funny. We got to analyze the chemical composition of the marijuana, which was really interesting. My compounding labs are really cool in pharmacy school. We actually made our own capsules. So we actually had to fill to the milligram weight capsules. We made cough syrups. We made suntan lotions. And so that's why it was kind of a nice, when I had the opportunity at Tom's of Maine to do some of those things again, it was really cool.
Mm-hmm. Wow. I had a question. It's gone now.
I guess the only question I really have is during those labs where you made cough syrup, did they let you work with those I guess because doesn't cough syrup have codeine in it, and isn't that
so we had we did have some controlled drugs. Again, they had careful inventories of those when we worked with them. But yeah, we were able to compound. They let us compound in the pharmacy labs.
Got it. So I remember now. Do you know what it was you didn't like about pharmacy? That pushed you outside?
I did not like, when I was doing my internship, the paperwork. That was not what I wanted to do. I enjoyed the compounding and the hands-on. Had I gone into a hospital pharmacy or something, I may have felt differently. I enjoyed mixing IVs and things like that. Those are things that I enjoyed.
Where were you?
So I was just at a Walmart pharmacy.
Mm-hmm.
And as a tech, they have you do a lot of the Medicare, Medicaid paperwork and things like that. You don't necessarily do a lot of the counting, nor was that, once I got into the field, what I wanted to do. I liked the compounding piece.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a harder position to
doing
get.
that too right now. Or not necessarily, but
yeah.
Please come to the main office for a message.
Almost.
Tyler Ben, please come to the main office
I
for
love
a
the
message.
announcements. The best is when we're in the music studio and we're trying to record something and then it comes over.
Yes. I'm sure that's
It's really
frustrating.
good. Sam Morgante, please come to the office.
Your prod time.
I know. So then you went to the juice company. So what did they have you doing at the juice?
So there I did some analysis of, it was quality control, quality assurance. So every batch we needed to make sure it was in the specifications. If it was a new product, we needed to set specifications. We did the sugar content using bricks, which I know you used for your AP Bio project. So we used a bricks meter to do the sugar. We would look at pH. Again, my primary role is microbiology, so I would incubate samples and then I would plate them for total plate counts. High yeast samples were always really not great. They stunk like crazy. But yeah, so my role was really, kind of plating and analyzing, and I did do some of that supporting in the R&D. So when they, would develop a new product, I would give it a look. It was an interesting place because when I started in that role, they didn't pasteurize their juice. So their total plate count that was acceptable was a lot higher. While I was there, and the shelf life was also like 5 days or 7 days, when I was there, we went through the process of implementing pasteurization, and so then we had that micro kill. So it was, night and day. It was really interesting to be there for that transition.
Mm-hmm. And what eventually pushed you to move on from the juice factory?
So they got acquired by another company.
Okay.
My role was still there at the time, but I had a feeling things are going to be changing, and so I went to Tom's. Yeah.
Okay. And you had Tom's already lined up, so it was
Yeah,
a quick
exactly. I
transition.
went one from the other, and I felt badly leaving the juice company, but sometimes you have to make choices. And
Did you get free samples?
yes, I could bring
Free
home
juice.
lots of juice.
Okay.
Yeah, the juice was called Fresh Samantha, and it was acquired by Odwalla. So
Okay, yeah.
yeah.
Juice. So you went to Tom's, and what were you doing day to day at Tom's? I know the general.
So at first I was doing, quality assurance, but then I wasn't there very long. I was in that role less than a year at Tom's of Maine. So then I got moved into the R&D group. My day-to-day varied. I mean, it depended on where we were in the project. So if it was a new project, so we got, a product concept from marketing, then I would look for ingredients that met, what they were looking for. So we also had very strict standards at Tom's of Maine. We had a stewardship model where our definition of natural was placed. So I had to analyze, besides the ingredients being effective, I needed to analyze them for their chemistry. I needed to make sure that their chemistry was aligned. Did we feel it met our natural standards? If it didn't, we couldn't use it. What was an alternative? And so, it was that process of analyzing those raw materials. I met with ingredient vendors, so they would come and they would, show me their new things because, that was important. Developing. Sorry. So, I would meet with these people, and then I would try to craft a product. So we would have, let's say we're working on a shampoo. So there's, some basic things you need for a shampoo. You need, something that foams. You need something that cleans. You need something that carries, moisturizes. So I would pick, a palette of things, and I would assemble them together to make products and prototypes, and then we would evaluate them from there.
It's probably pretty different every day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, depends. I mean, you could be on a project for months, so then that would be very similar. It depends again where I was in the stage. In the beginning, I was doing all these different pieces, but then, it was repetitious. You trial and error. Try it. What did I learn from this iteration? Okay, I'm going to try something else. What did I learn from this iteration? Try something else. And so there was a lot of that too.
But you still got to use your hands every day, and that's kind of what you want to do. So,
Yeah. So I was
Didn't get
I was
boring?
in front of a mixer a lot,
Uh-huh.
and then if we had something that we were monitoring that we liked, we would then put it in stability, and so then I would monitor it that way too to make sure that over time when it was out on the market, it would still be what we wanted it to be.
Over time, yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of what we're doing in stats right now. Over a long time. So I guess I keep going with chronology, and then I'll wrap back and do other questions. So how'd you end up leaving Tom's and end up teaching?
So my group was dissolved, honestly, at Tom's of Maine. Our work was moved to New Jersey. Tom's of Maine was acquired by Colgate Palmolive, and so I worked as part of Colgate Palmolive for 5 years. So Tom's of Maine, so part of my time at Tom's of Maine, I was part of Colgate Palmolive, and they moved the R&D department to New Jersey. We could have gone to New Jersey if we wanted to have a role in New Jersey. My family wanted to stay in Maine, so I made the decision to go into teaching. But it was something that was always a back burner for me anyway. I was always interested, and so I took it as an opportunity.
Did you have to go back to school to teach? Or?
I went to UNE to get my teacher's certification. I went through their program. It's half of a master's degree, and so right now I'm actually finishing up the second half of the master's degree. Yeah.
Nice. Well, what type of things are you learning about?
So right now, actually, I'm done my classes. I'm into portfolio, so kind of putting things together in my research. So.
Tell us what you're researching?
I don't know yet.
Oh, you don't know?
I
Okay.
take that class in the fall.
Yeah. Whoa.
That's my last class.
I see. That's exciting.
So in December,
Master
I
of
will have
Reference.
I will have my master's degree in education.
And here you're teaching bio and AP bio, but also human anatomy. So how'd you come around to human anatomy?
Kind of taught myself, I'm not gonna
okay.
lie. Yeah, that was something that wasn't on my radar. I did take anatomy in high school because going into pharmacy, I thought it would be a nice fit for me, having some of that background. And so, yeah, I really have learned that, on my own, speaking with people, talking with medical professionals when I can and get some of that information. And really that class, I just try to make it fun. I really want everybody to enjoy that class and, a lot of hands-on things. And that's something I can do as a teacher, even without, maybe not being a nurse or something. So.
Yeah. Definitely.
But.
I love the car going by. I hope that gets
Yeah,
picked up. Okay, so now we finished the chronology, so I'll go back a little bit. So coming out of college, you have a biology degree. I know some of the concerns with the biology degree is that it doesn't have, with engineering, such an easy pipeline to a job. How did you, I guess you said you didn't have that much trouble finding a job.
I had no problem.
Not once, but twice.
I had no problem. I actually got offered a job at Maine Medical Research. So honestly, there's a lot of opportunity even with a bachelor's degree, even in Maine. I was really fortunate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good. That's reassuring.
Well, there's a lot of avenues you can take. I would have never thought of quality work and microbiology. I never thought I'd work as a microbiologist, but I had the opportunity and I really enjoyed that work. So yeah, there's a lot of things you can do.
With wanting to go pre-med, I know the major concern is if I don't like med school, then I have a biology degree.
Oh,
and, I'll still be okay.
IDEX will sweep
Be
you up
okay
in a
the
minute
world.
if you're here.
Perfect.
They're always looking for people.
And so why biology over chemistry?
Again, I was kind of burnt out, honestly, from pharmacy school.
Yeah.
I had done enough
Yeah.
chem. So I'm like, I'm going to go to biology. I like bio too. And so then, having that biochem piece was good. It worked out well for me.
Did you get to do any research when you were studying in college?
No,
Very
no,
good.
I didn't. Not separate research. Well, I did some more. It was more paper-based, not hands-on. I actually did now I'm kind of lying because I actually did some research, but it was literature-based. It was on ethnobotany. I was interested in kind of tying together my pharmaceutical background with, biology. So it was a good opportunity where I had that crossroads of, where are medicines, where do they come from in the wild? So I actually did some work on that. So I did do that. So that was, sorry, I lied a little bit there for a minute. But yes, I did some work with ethnobotany and I wrote a paper on that.
Okay. So you're published?
Well, I don't think we got quite that far, but I got the semester credit, so there we go.
Good. That's all that matters at the end of the day. I forgot all the questions earlier about college. So where did you go to college?
Where did I go to college? So I went to UConn for 4 years, and then I actually finished up at USM, and I really enjoyed my experience there too. Finishing up that biochem piece.
And I've been asking this to everyone so far. So did you have a hardest class or an easiest class in college that you remember? Or maybe one that you liked the most? Specific.
I did not like organic chemistry.
Oh, okay.
I have a hard time with spatial awareness, and that's a big part of organic chemistry is, being able to see where things are coming in. Geometry was not my strength either for that very reason. So organic chemistry was not my favorite. I did enjoy some of the other pharmacy classes though a lot. I enjoyed it was a kind of a kinematics, so it was kind of like how quickly things, work inside the body and the drug delivery. I liked that a lot. I really liked that. But yeah, organic chemistry, not my favorite.
There's a lot of horror stories about organic, so can't wait. I'm just giving a little preface.
I know.
Well,
Jamal, you're in there, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Ms. Ranker said the same thing. She said she did not like that.
Organic? That's so
Yeah.
funny.
She said she was afraid of the pre-med kids who are going super concerned about getting into med school, so they're all
Yes. Yeah.
super competitive.
Oof. Yeah. Pharmacy school was like that at UConn as well. That's one of the reasons. Another thing I think that turned me off a little bit of pharmacy was I didn't like that atmosphere.
Yeah,
Yeah, I didn't like that being
Even at
super
Walmart?
competitive. Yeah. No, in the classroom at
Oh,
Walmart,
okay.
I was the only
I was gonna
one
say,
there
it seems like
for
no
an
one has
internship.
pharmacists now. I know at Walgreens they said they're running out of pharmacists.
Oh yeah,
Bad.
we have actually I think we have one pharmacist, but the one from Biddeford sometimes comes and helps out at ours. So
Yeah.
it's
And then when we talked to my coach, he said all the time they don't have pharmacists, which
Wow.
is the problem.
Well,
And when I was there, it was a 5-year program, and you got an RPH. But now you need the PharmD. The PharmD
Yeah.
is a requirement now, and that wasn't when I was in
That's a
school.
lot of schooling.
Yeah,
It's difficult. I want to know more about juice, to be honest.
that's funny.
Juice or Tom's?
Well, Tom's I can talk about. I mean, a lot of that work that we did. I said I wasn't published, but I do have. I'm an inventor on 2 patents, so that was something from my work there. Yeah, so I was able to work on these really great teams, to develop these products that went to market, and they were novel enough that we were granted 2 U.S. patents for our work, which was cool.
Do you remember what they're in?
One of them is a propylene glycol glycerin deodorant base, and the other one is a hops extract that we used for efficacy for deodorant.
Mm-hmm.
So they were both deodorant-based products.
Were you involved in the trials portion as well?
Yeah, so we needed to do a lot of claim substantiation work for our products as well as consumer testing. So, I played a key role in, pulling that all together. If you wanted to make a claim, you couldn't make a claim without a test, especially when we were part of Colgate, because, you have competition, Procter & Gamble is going to come after you if you don't have your claims all, in line and substantiated. That was really important. So we had to do clinical tests that supported that, whether, if we wanted to make a skin moisturization claim, we actually had to have human subjects, through a clinical testing site. It wasn't something we could do on our own. So it was a lot of regulatory coordination that way. So I did a lot of that kind of work. I assembled labels, so I made the ingredient decks on the labels of the products. That was something else I did in that role. But
So much stuff.
it was a busy place.
Did you do stats in college?
I did, biostats. I did take
yeah.
biostats.
So
Yeah.
you knew what you had to do.
Yeah.
Do all the.
But
lovely
we
stuff.
had a group that helped us actually, if we needed to analyze, experimental data and, things like that, those clinical results. Colgate had a department full of statisticians.
I'm sure they do.
So.
Big companies, by the way.
Exactly.
One of the pros of getting bought out. One of the few pros.
We definitely had more resources.
Yes.
That's not wrong.
How many people were you in a team with at times?
My department itself was 10 of us in Kennebunk, I'd say. There were about 10 of us working together, and we were divided out into, some people did more of the, toothpaste, so the oral care products. I was on the personal care side. There were some people that supported both, so the research group would research, for both groups, depending on what the needs were.
10 biologists. Were they all biologists?
Chemists,
Chemists as well,
yeah, chemists. I was probably the only, well, no, I can't say I'm the only one with a biology degree, because we did have a microbiologist as part of the staff as well.
And what is the differentiation between microbiology and biology?
It's just a specialist, it's somebody who specializes more at that bacterial level.
Oh, more than, okay,
Yeah.
The micro stuff, the small
Yeah.
stuff. That makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, it's just a specialty.
Okay.
But
Do you have any other?
I guess I was wondering, to relate it to kind of, something more, I can't remember the word I'm looking for is contemporary. That means current, contemporary.
Yeah.
So kind of more contemporary, ideas, was there any difference, do you think, in, the way, kind of going through, I guess the industry as like a woman, I guess, and kind of like science and STEM? Was that?
I felt very fortunate, honestly, all in all. I felt very well supported. I do feel like I got opportunities. That first opportunity that I got at the juice company, it was a woman manager, and I think she, did encourage that. She wanted, a young woman. She wanted someone who could kind of come in. I mean, of course, a young man she would have taken, I'm sure, too, if they were qualified. But she was a very good mentor in that regard. Really getting my confidence up as a woman in science, and then really, I had wonderful woman mentors along the way, and really encourage that. So I wouldn't say I myself hit a lot of hurdles that way. I was fortunate to be really supported.
Do you know many other biologists, or have you seen anyone that has gone through that?
Being in a big company and being exposed to that, I gotta say Colgate's progressive. They're actually quite good about putting women in, these bigger roles and things like that. But I certainly have heard, people that have not, and have had, a hard time, getting through. But I have to say, I give them kudos for that. They were very good at promoting.
That's lovely. Okay, nice. Well, I don't know. Nice to do that. Same thing I've been asking everyone right at the end. Do you have any advice for any up-and-coming biologists, chemists, stuff like that, as they go up even right now, looking at college or going forward?
I would just say, don't let anything that feels like a closed door be a closed door. Like I said, I didn't like pharmacy. I just, what do I like? What can I do? And don't be limited, like you said, what can I do with a biology degree? Let's say pre-med doesn't work out. There's a ton. Okay, so if you're interested in science, there are so many opportunities, even in Maine, and they're, growing in Maine, and of course, all over the United States and the globe. There are so many opportunities. So that's my biggest advice. Just keep going, because there are plenty out there.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Ms. LaFrance,
Thank
for joining us.
You're
It's been
welcome.
a great interview. Learned a lot. And, thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.